Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at BLZ, seeing what's going on. Got a lot of requests for this one here recently because we talked about a weekly close and where that needed to line up and effectively help understand, generally speaking, best practice for these situations here. Okay, we got 3 strong weeks, potential 4th red week on the horizon. It is common for that to occur, 3 white soldiers, but that may not occur here because there's tremendous amount of volume coming into this coin. Okay, so again, we got a lot more volume, and with volume is sustainability. Previous runs have not had a lot of volume. This is a much bigger situation. So keep that in mind. Please recognize we're in a position right now this could continue to run. Be careful shorting this coin. I know a lot of communities that have shorted this coin recently, both successful and unsuccessful, and it's there's 2 sides of the coin, right? Just depends on where you get in, where you get out. But generally speaking, more long-term, long side bias to the upside versus short-term downside. Okay. That said, I got a very important news article I want to talk to you about really quick here. BitGet just released information here regarding KYC full requirements as of October 1st. I've got a lot of members using BitGet because that was one of our primary exchanges for the last year or two, and it's been great, it's been awesome, but if you're in the US, Canada, UK, you may be impacted by this. Therefore, you might want to consider an alternative, which would be our BingX. That is essentially the place in which you're able to kind of go along with, okay? So again, I close that because I'm actually logged in there with my personal account, but for lack of better terms, BingX is a great alternative here. There's a bonus and rewards if you use my link down below, and of course the trading competitions in the futures too as well. But they're the currently only US-based exchange that offers leverage with no KYC or VPN that I'm aware of, okay? If you do know of other ones, feel free to comment below. Love to hear it. I can go ahead and reach out and see if we can find some alternative for my community, but for lack of better terms, BingX is a fantastic exchange. Please feel free to use that link and register so you can get those benefits. Now, when it comes to BlueZell, I always want to say Blaze, BLZ. BLZ is effectively very strong, holding really well. So let's take a look at the weekly first and kind of summarize that. Once again, tremendous amount of volume. We've got the price action testing 70 on the RSI. Traditionally, when you see 70 on the RSI or 30 on the RSI, specifically on the weekly, it's more likely to reverse itself. So be mindful that we are getting closer to the overextension here, but we did break through this key level resistance here based on not only volume, but also just a previous resistance for the last previous, what was that? It's back in January. So back in January, we tried 5 weeks in a row. So for a full 5 weeks, almost basically a month and a quarter, essentially trying to break through that level, couldn't do it. Now, we've officially broke through it, but we haven't fully closed yet. So keep in mind, this week is looking good, but it's not over yet, all right? So bear that in mind. We're looking very strong. With this amount of volume, it's probably likely we're going to continue, but you never truly know until the candlestick closes. So we're in a position right now. You may want to just consider waiting depending on your long-term position, but for lack of better terms, we're looking pretty good. Seems fairly likely we're going to be able to close above that. We're above both moving averages. Take a look at the daily though, same thing as well, of course, obviously we're good there. The thing that I want to pay attention to or emphasize on the daily is the amount of volume that we're seeing at this 10-cent mark. So 10, 10.5, a lot of my traders have gotten tons and tons of profit buying the dip at about 10 cents, right, that volume range support, and then of course riding it out until it maxes out on RSI and selling. Okay, so again, congrats again to my community members for that. Very well done. That's generally what we're looking at here for BlueZell at that 10.5 mark. A lot of volume at that level. So that does tell us that we got some support there. That is more likely than not going to push us into this next weekly close above that level to allow for us to have a nice strong support. Okay. So we're building a very strong volume support at 10 cents. But the daily looks pretty decent here, right? We are above 70 on the RSI. This kind of keeps retesting that level. If we can close above that comfortably, we'd be in good shape. Keep in mind RSI at 70, somewhat of an overextension, but it's holding very nice. Once again, with this volume, we're looking to be in pretty good shape. We are honoring this ascending trend here still so far, so we want to assume it's going to continue. We can also recognize too on the 4-hour that the 20 and the 50 are both trend setters. So we can see this 50-day SMA kind of just holding the price action in place. That's very common when it's on the right side of the tracks. We can see here the 20 as well, kind of holding the price action, but not exactly the most substantial, I guess. I prefer the 50-day SMA on the 4-hour and the 20 on the daily to get that trend setting and understand where that's at. In fact, just to look at the 20 on here, this is kind of holding true here, pushing the trend upwards, right? Again, still early because we had so much volume come in so quick to this coin that we're seeing that moving average lagging a little bit behind. That said, 4-hour looks fairly bullish, and there's no reason to trade against this coin here. There could be a pullback to this roughly about 11.5 cent mark and a bounce. That's a very strong consideration there. We also want to consider looking at is Elliott wave here, kind of just telling us that if this is the highest point, we should see a pullback once again to that range. And that's a pretty common characteristic, right? So again, we pull up this Fibonacci retracement levels. We can see these levels here, clear as day, 0.5, 0.618, really common retracement areas, and it almost already wicked down to this halfway mark. So to me, a good buy zone is roughly between 10.7, 10.8, and 11.7, right there between those two Fibonacci levels. It's a common place for the price to pull back and likely to bounce. Now again, is this next bounce going to exceed 15.5 cents? I don't know. I don't think so. Just based on Elliott wave and potential other theories, you can kind of see that the price action is reaching an overextended state. And furthermore, unless that volume continues, then we're going to see the price start to dissipate moving forward. So, again, not saying that you should necessarily short right now, but this third overextension here was a bit egregious, and the probability of the price pulling back at least this 0.5, 11/10 cent mark would make a lot of sense. Okay, now take a look at the hour. Let's take a quick peek here because I'm really curious about the cloud. This is reaffirming the kind of what I mentioned here. We got that strong support at about 11.6. So the price comes down here. There's a good chance we could see a bounce. If it doesn't bounce and we go within the cloud, then we might see a consideration for the price action to come lower. Just keep in mind, coins like this are giving us false positives because just because it breaks below the cloud doesn't mean it's exactly going to continue in that direction. Okay, so keep in mind, the price could very well travel this way here and go up again. There's a good chance of that. We'll reevaluate when we get there. But for right now, I think there's a little bit of a gravitational pull here, more so towards the 10.5 point mark rather, and to potentially see a bounce from there. So I do think we're going to see the price retest this level and then potentially bounce. But once again, we need to wait until we have a little bit more confirmation. Right now, we've confirmed it's overextended and a pullback would make sense, but I wouldn't expect a massive pullback just yet because again, we're just starting this trend here. We hit a 7 previously. There could be some gas left in the tank here. So to me, I'm leaning a little bit more towards this coin retesting that 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, potentially bouncing off that key level support on the weekly at about 11.4, and then likely increasing from there. Again, we want to continue to make sure to pay attention that we are establishing higher lows. So this next low is right here. We should be in good shape for it to continue higher. But once again, we have some resistance here right there at 0.236, 13.7. Obviously, the price had some trouble getting through that level. So I think that the best thing to do right now is honestly be patient. If you have a long position open, you may want to consider taking some profits. I would urge caution in shorting this coin, specifically at the current level. It does seem like it's going to continue lower, but it really just depends on a lot of other factors that aren't present yet. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that made sense for you to describe this correctly. Again, if you want to help grow our Twitter community, greatly appreciate it. We have some awesome technical fundamental data coming through here, and just a lot of good, easy ways to communicate with my members. So I greatly appreciate that. But more important, jumping over to our Discord, become part of something bigger, and greatly appreciate all my current traders for just having a good time and interacting with the community. It's really a fun experience. Thanks again. I look forward to working with you. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.